Hey, Eli here. Today I want to talk to you about the GFX 100S paired with the Canon EF 50mm 1.2, a lens that was made in 2018, and they've been manufactured over the years, but that's when it first came out, according to Google. And yeah, I picked it up in 2007, photographed my first wedding with it in 2008, and then I had since sold that copy, and so I had to rent one from Lens Rentals. And I took it down to Yosemite, photographed a wedding with it, and then photographed a couple session here in Bend, Oregon, as well as my family and brother. And I just wanted to see if it was a good option, how it would hold up on sharpness. And so I used it. Vignetting was minimal. Sharpness wasn't too great. It was decent at 100 megapixels. You know, it's really put into the test, but it had a lot of character. It was really pretty, really dreamy, and really fun. There's a little bit of vignetting left after the correction, and for some reason Lightroom doesn't recognize it automatically, so I had to make a preset just to make things faster to add the profile for Canon EF 1.2. And then for fun, I compared it to the RF 50mm 1.2 just because I wanted to see, do I need this expensive lens or can I buy this cheaper one with the adapter? And this RF 50mm blew it out of the water pretty easily. It was faster to focus. I think it had a faster recycle rate on the shutter too, and then way sharper and just a much better image. I mean, the image quality out of this thing is amazing. So yeah, anyway, back to the GFX. Let's look at some images and see how it did. Say I wasn't like unimpressed or impressed. It was kind of what I expected. It wasn't as sharp as the 85 1.2, but it was still really pretty. So we'll start out here in my kitchen, picture of my wife. I think this image was just a little soft on her eyes, but we can see what it is capable of, even just maybe slightly out of focus. It's hard to tell. GFX isn't the most accurate, but let's look at that vignetting. And it's pretty harsh at 1.2. And here's just a black and white image. The colors in here are really funky, so I just made it black and white. And a little bit sharper, but looks pretty good. That's at 8,000 ISO, so we're really pushing it. So you can just really get some pretty images out of this if you want to play around with high ISO or black and white or just a lot of character in an image. And then here's an image that I took with two prisms, so it's a little bit different, but you can see a little dreamy. It's kind of just embracing that character with two prisms and then photoshopped them together. Another one there. And then here's just an image where I didn't do anything. Let's just look at that vignette. You can see it still carries over a little bit on the top. If I reset that crop, you can see on the top left, it's going to carry over. So you're going to have to crop it. But let's look at the sharpness at this image. This is probably one of my favorite images throughout the day with this lens. But we can see a lot of ghosting, really dreamy, but still sharp, really pulling it in. It focused. And then here's an image. This one fell a little softer. Yeah, these images are large. See if that will load better if I zoom out. There we go. All right, yeah, so you can see it did focus on her, and it's pretty decently sharp. And this one here, pretty sharp. And it's definitely not anywhere near as sharp as the 80mm from Fuji. Let that load. Goodness. There we go. Awesome. And another one here. Let's look at that vignette. Cool. All right, now we get down to some comparisons between f1.2 and f4.0. So we want to see if we can sharpen this up if we really need to for a group shot. And let that load. So the one on the left is the 1.2 image, and the one on the right is the f4 image. Both the same lens, and pretty much the same composition. I just had to adjust my shutter. So, and then we've got another one here. We've got 1.2 and 3.5. So let's see here. All right, there we go. All right, on the left we have 1.2. On the right we have 3.5. So definitely can sharpen up, add a lot more contrast and detail. And then we've got my brother in a different scenario with 1.2 and 4.0. F4, a lot more detail, looking a lot better. And then a little bit closer. Oh, All right, a little bit closer. You can see there, definitely, yeah, sharpening up if we need it to. So, and getting rid of some of that ghosting. And then, but we get a lot of bokeh. You can see that blur just melt in the background. And then here's an image indoors, 1000 ISO, sharpened up pretty good. And another situation we're at 1.2. So awesome. Cool. I wanted to keep this one short, but just, you know, I'm not going to make a comparison between the 50 RF 1.2 and the EF 1.2, but do know that this lens is definitely worth the money if you want to spend it to get image quality out of it. If you already have the 50 1.2, then, you know, you can play around with it. I think you can get some really pretty stuff. But if you're going to shoot anything where it requires a lot of detail and sharpness, like, you know, commercial work, then you're going to want to upgrade. But yeah. So my next video will probably be about the 35 1.4. This lens is a much newer lens, the version 2, and really holds up well on the GFX system. Very sharp and pretty much covers the sensor for the most part. In my opinion, better than the 51.2 does. So cool. Hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, these are just my, you know, things I want to figure out. Do these lenses work? How do they work? Just because I want to have options. Because now I have, you know, a 35 and an 80 mil. So I can pretty much shoot or photograph anything I want as far as portraits with these two right here. So giving me a lot more option. So cool. Hope you have a good day, and thanks for watching.